Chapter 7. Enthusiastic Manager Joe. This morning, between intermediaries in their area, a message goes out. That is, the two houses in building number 1 of Junewevwooding were both bought by a mysterious Mr. Lin, and not rented out yet. It is also because of this that everyone wants to get in touch with this mysterious Mr. Lin. However, there is no way to contact them. But now, this mysterious Mr. Lin actually appeared in front of him now. How is this? Can you not make him excited? If Junewevwooding has no other owner who bought 2 buildings and whose surname is Lin, then it would be me. With a faint smile on his face, Lin Chen sat on the sofa. Taking a sip of tea, he said, "Gulu." He swallowed. Look at Lin Chen. The intermediary's expression was extremely excited. This Mr. Lin now has 120 houses for rent. If all of this is rented out, then his own commission. At this moment, his expression was extremely excited. So, how long do I have to wait? Lin Chen smiled lightly and said. Immediately, the property came back to its senses and said quickly, "Sorry, Mr. Lin, I was distracted. Your list is too big. I can't make a decision. Please wait a moment. I'll call our manager." As he spoke, he hurried to the manager's room. The manager's room at this time. Manager Zhou, who loves his home, was on the phone there. Manager Zhou. The intermediary ran in and shouted. As for Manager Zhou here, his brows were immediately frowned. Looking at the intermediary, his expression was slightly displeased. Hold on. After speaking, clutching the phone receiver, he looked at the little intermediary there and said, "What's the matter? Didn't you see that I was on the phone?" Manager Zhou. Mr. Lin is here." Mr. Lin? What about Mr. Lin and Mr. Li? A little thing. The manager was just about to say something this week, but suddenly remembered something. The eyeballs were all rounded, and he looked at the little intermediary there, breathing heavily. Road. Mr. Lin? The Mr. Lin who bought 2 buildings in Junewevwooding? Yes, Manager Zhou. After this sentence fell, Manager Zhou, who was here, said a few words to the other end of the phone. Then, he just hung up the phone, straightened his clothes, and said, "Hurry up and take me there. Don't make Mr. Lin wait too long." Watching this scene, the corner of the little intermediary's mouth twitched for a while. This, so realistic. I complained from the bottom of my heart. Then, still taking the manager this week, he walked outside. In the hall, the moment the manager saw Lin Chen this week, I was shocked from the bottom of my heart. Young. It is too young. Originally, he thought that someone who could spend hundreds of millions to buy 2 buildings. In any case, he had to be a middle-aged man in his 30s or 40s. But Lin Chen in front of him, he looked like he was only 23 or 24 years old. This is really big. Beyond Manager Zhou's expectation. What kind of family is this? I sighed in my heart. Then, with a smile on his face, he said, "Hello, Mr. Lin, I have kept you waiting for a long time. I am the manager of the Lover's House, and my name is Zhou Wankai." "Hello, Manager Zhou." Lin Chen also stood up, just about to shake hands with him. The other party bowed directly at 90 degrees. And this week, the manager also saw the real estate certificates of the 2 boxes there. His gaze became even hotter. After all, this is serious business. The man in front of him directly bought 2 buildings. If this can be one, it is best to have another exclusive. So, this Junewevwooding community is among their stores. That is the one with the largest proportion among all the intermediary companies in this neighborhood. Moreover, if such a customer can establish a good relationship for the future of their store, it also has certain benefits. Not to mention, whether he will invest in the nearby community in the future. All you need is for the other party to have a little talk with his friends. For them, those are unimaginable benefits. Immediately, this week the manager just started talking. "Mr. Lin, you can just call me Xiao Zhou." As he said that, he also glanced at the little intermediary behind him and said, "How did you do it? Let Mr. Lin sit in the hall." After finishing speaking, he said with a smile, "Mr. Lin, shall we go to the VIP room to talk?" "No need, just here." The manager didn't say much this week either. Seeing Lin Chen like this, just nodded. Then, he spoke. "Mr. Lin is here this time. Is he going to rent out all the houses in his hand?" "That's right, rent them out all at once." "That's really great." At present, most of Junewevwooding's houses are rented out. And Mr. Lin, the 2 buildings in your hand are currently empty, but they are hardcover rooms. If it is rented and sold, a room can be open to at least 3,500 for a month. But if you want to rent the whole house, then in terms of price, it should be slightly lower. Well, the single room is ready. Let's go according to the market price, adopt the 1-pay-1 deposit model, and take care of the water and electricity by yourself. Lin Chen said flatly. He had already done the calculations last night. Building number 1 has 4 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. If all of them are rented out, in that month, I can get an income of more than 14 million yuan. Lin Chen pondered for a while here. Then, said, "These 120 houses, if you can rent and sell them as soon as possible, then I can exclusively provide you with these listings." As soon as this sentence came out, Manager Zhou who was there was suddenly startled. Then, in a hurry, he patted his chest to express, "Mr. Lin, don't worry. Leave it to us, and we promise to rent it out for you as soon as possible." Immediately, after signing the agency contract, the whole matter is settled. Move the real estate book to the car. Look at this pure white domineering Porsche supercar. Manager Zhou felt more and more emotional in his heart. His eyes were full of envy. "Mr. Lin, it's noon now, why don't we have a light meal together?" Looking at the time, Manager Zhou said, "No, I have to go to the community to pick up some things and prepare to move. Shaking his head, Lin Chen said. Move place? Manager Joe was taken aback for a moment, and then said hastily, I'll help you move it. No need, there's not much anyway. After a lot of evasion, Lin Chen couldn't handle the manager this week, so he had to go to the community together. The two came to the 17th floor of the community. When I just walked to the door of my room, his complexion was congealed. His expression was so cold, because he discovered it impressively. All my belongings were thrown out of the gate.